All right, welcome everybody to Blood Bowl 15. This is the mock draft for our upcoming draft, I believe, in 3 weeks from now?
2 weeks. August 27th.
August 27th, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks, be there. I've got with me Kavance Crusaders, Alf's Destroyers here. Amazingly, for the first time as we do one of these, no former champion sitting at the table. No current champion.
No current champion, right?
No, all former champions. We've had an exciting off season with absolutely nothing going on besides
not a thing.
Besides the crotch dropping players, of course, for no real reason. This has been a quiet off season for me because I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes work. Hopefully, it'll pay off throughout the season. You'll see a lot of that. We've been cleaning up the records throughout the year. Heading into this year, we made some major changes. We made tight ends, instead of a half point per reception, they'll get a full point per reception. So that gives them an advantage over running backs and wide receivers there. We increased points for the defensive players, and we made a flex position out of the fourth wide receiver. Which of those do you see as the biggest impact? Alf.
I think the wide receiver tight end is going to be a big impact. Gives you more flexibility with your team, and if you're sneaky, it gives you that 1 point per reception if you can land the right player.
Kavant, what do you think?
No doubt it's got to be the defense.
Okay.
And it's a whole lot of players, and there's a whole lot of good ones available still on the waiver.
My counter to that, in 10 years, we ain't seen that many people who can play defense.
The question I have, though, is if the defense just goes up in points, but there's a lot of comparable players, does it make a huge difference?
I don't think so.
My big concern is that the defense might become more powerful than offense.
I don't think it'll get to that stage because even a bad person can go out there and say, "Oh, that guy's scoring a lot of points." But I think if you're smart and you're watching it, this is going to be another way to differentiate your team from the others. So, having said that, do you think this is the year where we see defensive players drafted round one, or do you think the best ones are gone and it's a weak draft class? Can we all agree on that?
This is a terrible draft class.
Terrible draft.
If I had a year to be like you in replacements to not have a first round pick, this is the year not to have a first. There's a lot of talent, but I think it's a lot of backup talent.
Yeah.
So defensive players, no. I think the big power players are gone. Yeah. I think that some of us seen this coming and some of us have played defense for 10 years now. So we have the defensive players. Now we reap the benefit of the change. I mean, I've always looked at defense as an important part of my team.
Absolutely.
15 years in, do you see any shocks this year? Do you see somebody stepping up as a big player, or play it by ear? You don't see it yet, but
I think rags to riches and replacements are full timers. I think they've put their time in. Plus Snowflake. I think we've separated now to where there's 6 solid teams and there's 4 working on it, and there's 2 I just don't know what they're doing.
But I got to say, and I was going to save this till the pick, but I don't know what's up with Drew's Warriors. That's a team that should be competing for championships.
He's got 2 first-round picks this year. If he doesn't compete after this year, he's going to struggle to compete.
Well, you know my thoughts on Drew's. I think he's he's kind of checked out a little bit. I think he's missed chances to improve his team, and I think he wasted a runner-up year a couple years ago, and he didn't build on that.
Yeah.
And I think he's just been content to sit with what he's got, and what he's got isn't enough.
I think he can spring this year, though.
Well, what he's got's pretty good. I was looking at it. I wondered how this team could be number 2 in the draft.
It's interesting.
Well, when you say that, Snowflake's number 3.
Yeah.
And she's got a team that could be a playoff team any year.
But hers is always injuries.
She does get injured a lot. It's a weird thing. I can't figure it out. We sit and look at it, she and I talk about it. You can't pinpoint injuries. It's just weird. It goes where somebody will just fall apart on her. But it's not the same guy. It's not like she's depending on somebody that just always gets hurt. It's just everybody. They just disappear.
I believe it comes from the Ranger curse.
It could be. It could be. So what we've done is, like always, we've divided it up. Each one of us is going to take a pick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We went in threes. Of course, everybody's going to weigh in on their picks. Vance, I believe we started with you as the number 1 pick, did we not?
We did.
All right. So bottom to top is on the board. Now, I've looked at their team. I see some weaknesses, but you tell me. What do you think?
No, the biggest thing I think in our league is quarterbacks. If you don't have quarterbacks, you're in trouble. And the number 1 pick, you have to take the impact player. That's what you got to do. So I think he's going to take Elliott from Dallas.
So you lead with the quarterbacks, and then you take Elliott.
And he swings us to Zeke. But I'm telling you right now, Bottom, do us all a favor. If you're not going to entertain trades, take Zeke and move on. Because this number one pick to me, when you look at, there's nobody else that I've seen in any publication ranked in the top 50 rookies this year to perform. Zeke is actually in the top 10, top 5 in some magazines. So if you're not going to entertain the trade, don't waste a half hour on Sunday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. Let's just move on and take your pick and go. But I do think, in my opinion, this one I agree with Zeke. But I think it is going to be a trade fury who ends up with him on their team.
I think you're probably right on the trading.
Well, that's not who I have bottom to top taking. I think if bottom to top is going to take, if he's going to make the pick, I think he's got to take Goff. I think you got to take the franchise quarterback.
He needs it. I don't think he'll do it because Zeke's got all the play this year.
Ironically, I took Goff as my pick for him, but I don't see how you can pass Elliott at the beginning.
I agree, and he may trade this pick. I think he'd be smart to trade this pick and get a quarterback.
It'd really be smart to get a bundle pick.
Yeah.
There's 2 people that got 2 first-round picks this year. There should be some serious trade offers.
I don't even know if I'd go that way. I'd want a quarterback, and I'd want maybe a pick, maybe another player. I want something because he's got great wide receivers. Just real quickly, his top 3, Nelson, Bryant, and Green, they're probably the best 3. I would say Rags Riches has the best 2 with Beckham and Brown. But I think when you go to extend to 3, I'd rather have bottom to top than take Marshall as my 3rd. If you give him 4, then I go back to Rags to Riches. But top 3 is bottom to top. His running backs are Carlos Hyde. We don't know. The others are still young. Alex Smith is his only good quarterback. To me, get you a quarterback, get you some other position players. I don't think Zeke makes a difference to you.
I agree with you. I think the smart pick, we all agree, would be Goff. I don't see him doing it. I see him going with the power of, my opinion, he trades this away, and Elliott, he's the first one to come off the board.
If it's bottom top, I'm picking Goff. If it's anybody else, it's probably Elliott.
Yeah,
I'll agree totally.
All right, the number 2 pick, I believe, was mine, and I've got Drew's Warriors. Personally, I think it goes with Elliott. I would think it's Ezekiel Elliott. Because I think, one, if bottom to top stays there, has got to be it. Drew's Warriors is pretty solid at quarterback, so I don't think he takes Goff if he's in the number 2 spot. His running backs are hurting. His wide receivers are hurting. If he's picking at this point, I would probably go Laquan Treadwell, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. I don't see another impact running back if Elliott's off the board, and I don't see him taking a quarterback. He might trade this pick. That wouldn't be a bad thing if somebody wanted to trade up and get a quarterback. So I would probably go, I think it's Treadwell or Moncrief. I'm not taking Derrick Henry this high, so I'm going to go ahead and slot Treadwell off the board.
Wow. I actually had Treadmill going to Snowflake Storm next pick.
Yeah, I'd say he's the number 1, for the most part, consensus wide receiver. So
I guess I'm on the outside looking in. Elliott's off the board. I like the sneak pick Shepard here.
Sterling Shepard out of New York.
I like Sterling Shepard just a step more than I do Treadwell. That's a personal, but I do agree it's going to be a wide receiver. If Elliott's off the board, if Elliott's not off the board, he's taken here.
If Elliott's not off the board, I'm sure he's typing Elliott as bottom top, just in case. So I think he's definitely that pick.
Absolutely. So we can agree Elliott and Treadwell are off the board now.
Yes,
that's what I heard.
According to our mock draft, it is. All right. Alf, Snowflake Storm is on the board with a 3 pick.
Well, I had Treadwell going to her, so I'm going to flip that with our draft here and say that she pulls Shepard and pulls him onto her team.
Okay.
Snowflake does not need anything. She is drafting what she wants. She likes receivers. She's got some good receivers, but it never hurts to put another top pick in there, and I think she looks at Treadwell.
I had Treadwell marked for, so since he's gone, I'd go Shepard. Same thing. She's looking for receivers.
If she's got a weakness, it's at wide receiver. I would say if Treadwell was there, Shepard's a fine pick. Moncrief is sitting out there. I've seen a lot of people compare Treadwell to Moncrief.
I just can't see anybody at this point in our draft taking Moncrief in a top 3 draft. When you're looking at a rookie.
The thing they say about it is that they are very similar in abilities. Yeah. But Moncrief you've seen for 2 years. You've kind of seen. There's a chance that Treadwell pops and he's, Calvin
better.
Johnson.
Can be better.
He may not get there, but you're buying hope in these top picks.
Right.
He also has Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball.
That hurts him. I'd rather have Luck throwing the ball, but Luck was very human last year. I'm not sure Luck is as good as everybody has said over time. Now, I'd like to have him, but I don't know that he's I think his market, unless he comes back and explodes this year again, I think his market was a lot higher as a rookie. Every year it's kind of started to slide down. The only other thing I think she might do is just because it's a quarterback league, maybe she takes Goff.
She's already got 5 starting quarterbacks.
But maybe she takes 6 and just sits there and trades them off and pieces together what she wants.
No, that ain't right because she don't ever trade.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
She got 5 starting quarterbacks sitting on her.
If she gets 6, though, there's going to be some hurting teams because I've seen some teams that don't even have a second quarterback.
Yeah.
So she's going to be the market for quarterbacks.
And she could do that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say Shepard or Treadwell.
If she feels a wide receiver will step into the lineup and play, I think she'll go that way. If she doesn't feel like the wide receiver is anything other than a backup, I would go Goff and I would sell it because a quarterback, even a mediocre quarterback, is worth more than a mediocre wide receiver.
Yep.
Just always. Number 4 pick, the Trotting Hamburgers of Mudcat Town, whatever he's calling himself this time. They're hopping somewhere. Vance, what do you got?
Easter bunnies.
This team needs everything.
Agreed.
I went with the quarterback here. And I actually went with Wentz because I had Goff already off the board.
Yeah.
I think he has to go Goff because
I think Goff's gone.
I think he's gone, but in our draft he hasn't.
No, in our draft he's not gone. But I think one bottom to top takes him, or somebody trades up to Drew's Warriors to take him if Zeke's gone. And I understand we're talking our draft, so we're going to count Goff as the official pick. But I think at this point Goff's gone. I think somebody has traded up with Drew to get that pick, or Snowflake took it to piss everybody off that needed one and just to monopolize it. And then if you, like you said, you were going to go with Wentz, they've said he might not even play this year. He might sit on the bench. So here's Mudcats. Is he going to then sit all year?
I said yes. I actually picked Wentz as well because he can afford to set a year, get another good draft pick next year, have this quarterback on a high-octane offense team, tank another year, build your team up. I don't think anything Trotz does at this point takes him out of the bathroom off the toilet.
The only only argument to that is this is Mudcats we're talking about, or Hamburger Trotz, or whatever his name is. He does not like keeping people on his bench. He will drop them within a couple weeks.
And this is a new Eagles team. This is going to be the Eagles run by the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, so it might not be as exciting. Here's my question to you. If you take Wentz or anybody, and you're assuming that he's going to pick first next year because he's going to tank, if you're assuming it's going to be a bad season and he's picking up towards the top, do you not think he's going to want to take a quarterback next year? So, I mean, does Wentz have any value? That's why I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go because I don't know how to help him today. And honestly, I'm not sure I know how to help him tomorrow either.
It's going to take. He's got to build for a while. I find it really strange because everybody's talking Goff. I actually have Wentz coming off the board before I do Goff. Because I don't think Goff is the answer. I'm sorry. Yeah, they brought him in, and he's supposed to be the superstar. I haven't seen anything I like about him so far. Nothing.
Only reason that I put him up higher than Wentz is because Goff is going to start.
Yeah, he's going to start this year.
Wentz may not even play.
Yeah, he may not. But in my opinion, I have Goff going a little bit lower because I just don't like him.
Do you ever see Mudcats sitting a guy for an entire season?
And that's where it comes scary. If you do take somebody like Wentz, Vance is right. Will he keep him there? Will he get frustrated?
If you take Wentz, you can't drop him. I mean, you have to lock him up all year.
I think that's some of Mudcats. He's been with us a long time, and I'm definitely not bashing him because he's been in the league. He's a staple to the league, but I don't think he's ever seen it. Part of our strategy, you have to set on some people.
Well, I've done the transaction reports for the entire 15 years, and I've seen the players he's had that have been amazing, but he drops them so quick that he never finds out. So I don't know. I think we're officially writing Jared Goff on here.
Yeah.
But this is where, to me, the draft has fallen apart because the talent, I'm not even sure Treadwell's that great a talent. I think it's Ezekiel Elliott, and then it's, do you believe in a quarterback?
Yeah, I really agree. After the first 3 picks to me, I think the first 3 that we made were pretty solid. I agree Goff going here, but really, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At this point, this is a great draft not to have a pick in the first round.
I have to agree with that. The only one I think is pretty much a sure shot is Elliott.
Yeah.
There's nobody else in this draft that I look at going, that's a number 1 pick. You got to get him.
So with that being said, leads me into my next pick because I think this is a heart pick. This is going to be Cavant. Is that right? I got Cavant's pick?
No, I got Cavant. You get the next pick.
Okay, go ahead with Cavant, and then I'll tell my pick then.
All right. So here's the question. Does Cavant take Wentz and sit on an eagle all year and hope that he pops and then he can trade him to me for a ridiculous bounty next year.
That would hurt. I bet it would pick my butt.
Or does he go for a Derrick Henry, which is, I don't know, a backup? Or does he go out and find a wide receiver? In my draft, I would have still had Treadwell on the board because there's a lot of people that have left that I'm not sure about. So now we're talking in this particular draft, we're back to Moncrief because he's the highest rated wide receiver, or does he go Corey Coleman from Cleveland? Cleveland has a terrible quarterback. Moncrief has a better quarterback. Just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to say he'll take Moncrief because Vance has taken older players in the past.
Yeah. And again, this is where we all go crazy here, but this is a draft class to me that is very weak. And how many opportunities are you past where you could draft your team's possible upcoming running back? I know they got Langford, but let me tell you right now, I do a lot of research on running back. He's not the long-term answer. I have Vance actually taking Howard off the board here and locking up the long-term Bears running back.
Jordan Howard.
Yeah, and Howard hasn't proven himself yet, but he didn't have a terrible preseason game. I think they all did pretty good, but I don't think Langford is a long-term answer. So I think he sneaks in with the heartfelt pick here, and he really has nothing to lose.
Who are you going to pick, Vance?
I think I'm going to pass on to the next.
So mine kind of messes the board up there, but I really think Vance has a chance to go with his heart here. And he missed White last year by a couple picks. I think
Drews.
I think he can sneak in this year and get a solid player for his team.
Well, officially it's Moncrief.
Okay.
I hate it when they read my mind.
Dallas primetime.
Here this is mine. I got Goff going here. Sorry, I don't like him. Somebody's going to take him. He's a starting quarterback. He's dropped too far at this point, so she's going to pick him up.
But he's not available in our draft, so you have to pick somebody
Okay,
else.
then I'm dropping back to Wentz.
All right. In my draft, they're both gone. They're both gone. I think they've got picked up. I told you I think somebody trades up for Goff. I think Mudcats may pick up Wentz and sit on him. I think they're both gone. And if they're gone, now Dallas Primetime is sitting there going, I don't even want to draft. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Here's something, and we'll talk about it a little bit later because I really want to point it out when we get a little bit further along. Who's trading up? There's a market for one.
Absolutely.
There's a huge market for one. There's a market for two if you want a quarterback and the one pick goes a certain way.
Right.
I mean, if the one pick is Jared Goff, then the two pick is worth a ton.
The two pick becomes super valuable at that point.
But assuming Goff and Elliott go 1 and 2, which is what I really think is going to happen somehow via trade. I think that's what's going to end up happening. I don't know who picks them. I'm just saying that's what will happen. Who does she pick if Wentz and Goff are gone? Because she needs a quarterback. I don't know if Kaepernick's even going to play. She needs some help in a lot of places. The good thing is she's got some older guys. I mean, she could trade Peterson tomorrow and get something. I don't know what she can get. I don't think she can get an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson. She could get
Jay Cutler.
You get a Jeremy Hill, Jay Cutler,
You can get a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
If she's down there to drafting wide receivers, again, the only name left on our board is Corey Coleman. Do you trust a Cleveland Browns receiver, especially with I have him and I just went blank on him. The guy who just came back, Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
With him back, does he become the de facto number one? And now Coleman's a slot receiver. This is a bad pick. Unless just things fall apart and she can, like you said, if it goes the way we Wentz, I think she wins with Wentz. I think that's a good pick for her in number 6. All right, Vance, we're going to come back around. Oh, we didn't even ask you. Since you don't want to say 5, what do you want to say 6?
I had her going with Henry.
Okay.
It depends on if you think DeMarco Murray is the answer or not.
Well, my question
I'm not
is,
sure that he is.
What Alabama running back's been good? I mean, Ingram has finally started coming around. That's it? I mean, is that it? Alabama has not done very well as running backs. They've got a nice little run of crap, and I think that's going to hurt Henry. Now, maybe Henry's the guy who bucks the trend and is undervalued and actually turns out to be decent. I can't knock the pick.
Yeah, not a bad pick.
But again,
Too early for me for Henry.
do you think she's pumping her fist when it gets to number 6 and Derrick Henry's still there? Yes, I got me some Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'm thinking after pick 2, nobody's pumping their fist going, yeah, that's going to change my team.
I might log out. I'm not sure.
I don't think you can. I think you're stuck.
All right.
You gotta get the later rounds.
So Vance, you're up to 7, which is the Knights of Excalibur, who they came right in the middle of the pack last year, but I don't think they seriously threatened. So I think they ended up in a bad spot for them. What do you think? Where
He
are they
should
going?
have definitely dropped some picks here.
I think that he'll go with the running back. And since I think D. Henry's off the board, I'd have to go with, how's this one pronounced? Process?
Well, Derrick Henry's still on the board in ours if you want to do it.
Oh, that's right, he is. So Derrick Henry would be my pick here.
Okay. Derrick Henry. Again, nothing to be excited about. Just give Knights of Excalibur a quick rundown. I think starting quarterbacks are good. Not amazing, but they're good. They're young enough. Flacco, I guess he's not young, but he's 30. That's not.
He's consistent.
Yeah.
He's solid.
30 is not to the point where I'm worrying about getting one. He's still got 5 years before I'd even start thinking about
I think he's got to give up on the quarterback. He's missed a couple years in a row. Let's move on.
I think running back, he's got Bernard, who I still like.
Yeah.
I thought Bernard had a good season last year. The problem is he's got no one else. He's got Brandon Cooks.
Well, he's got Crowell, who they're talking is going to have a pretty breakout year.
Yeah, I can't trust anybody in Cleveland. They say everybody on that team's having a breakout year. He's got Cooks and Cooper, who I love. I love those 2 picks. So he's really good, 1 and 2. 3 and that flex, that kind of sucks. So if it were me and what's still available, I'd take a flyer and maybe Corey Coleman turns out to be the next T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's a strong running back, he goes with Henry or Dixon. Neither one of those to me are a value here. On my seat, Moncrief is still available. Let me tell you, if he's there, he's going to snag him up. Veteran wide receiver at a 3 slot, have a Moncrief.
Veteran. 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
It's amazing how football gets to that.
But, I mean, he's going to pick him up because he's not afraid of that. He's got to start looking for consistency, and I agree with you. Coleman is on our board. I think he goes there. He needs running backs, too. I mean, he's got some holes. And he still, he has fun with it. So we'll see. We'll see what he does.
Well, hopefully he's filling holes this year.
Yeah, well, yeah. Don't, yeah.
We'll see if he listens. If he listens, he'll make a comment about that.
absolutely.
If he doesn't listen.
Absolutely, he will.
All right, so number 8 is Keith with the Killers. Killers, it's a broken record with him. He should take a kicker every year, first round. Is that the joke we go with?
Yeah. No, he had 2 tight ends. Yeah. All right,
So-
Killers.
Is he even going to show up for this one?
No, that's rags to riches.
Yeah.
Killers picked the first round kicker. Okay, so we got the stupid stuff out of the way. Keith actually, you know what? I like his team.
It's always to me, his team is good. It's always good. It's never good enough, but it's good.
He's got 4 good quarterbacks this year, though. You know he's always got Big Ben and Eeyore Manning.
Yeah.
Eeyore.
So what you're saying is that he's about where he should be at pick. What is this?
Yeah,
8?
8. Yeah,
He's good, but he ain't good enough.
yeah.
He could have dropped 3 picks. I remember last year if he would have just tanked his last game and let you win, you would have went to the playoffs. I'm sure replacements wouldn't have liked that, but he would have been drafted 5th, which would have been a much better pick.
Oh, much better. Yeah, but
So he won because he wanted to win, and that's fine.
I liked it.
He's got 4 good quarterbacks. He could trade one. I don't see him doing it because I think in his world he's got Big Ben and Eeyore, who's today.
yes,
But he's also got Bortles and Winston. I'm not sold on Bortles, but he's good in fantasy.
yeah.
He's got Bortles and Winston, who might be his quarterbacks that he's got
Tomorrow.
10 years from now when we're
Yeah.
going, Bortles, Winston. He's got nothing as a running back. He's got Allen Robinson as a wide receiver, and then the rest of it just falls off the board. So I would go with a running back if he had one out there. He's got Langford. He's got Riddick. That neither of them impressed me enough. I keep throwing the guy's name out there. You probably think I'm in love with him, but I really am not. I keep looking back at my list who we haven't picked. So I'm going to slot Keith at this point to take Corey Coleman from Cleveland. He's the best. I actually had him taking Sterling Shepard, but didn't we take him off the board at 3? So I'm going to pull the last remaining wide receiver I've got on my board, and I'm just going to go Corey Coleman and get it out.
I'll nail that one with you. I actually had him slotted before we sat down at taking Coleman. at this pick?
I had him taking Howard from Chicago. That way, you had both Langford and Howard.
Yeah, good handcuff. I absolutely see where you're going. I just say that if Howard's there, this year's a year for you to take him.
Howard's not on the board.
Well, on his bench, this is Keith's bench right now. Blue, Bell, Randall, and Moore, and I don't think any of them are playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
So if he wants to take one as a backup to see what happens, he's got 4 spots he can play with.
Yeah.
Some people, and we'll get right into this, the 9th pick, I'm going to let you pick it here in a second, but since my thought flows right into it. Rags to riches. There are certain teams that are drafting. I'm glad I traded out because I don't have anybody on my team. I've got a hole because of Calvin Johnson, and I'll acknowledge that. But he retired. Had he not retired, I got nobody I want to drop. Not for what's left.
No.
So what's Rags to riches got? I mean, I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his bench.
What's he going to drop?
Denard Robinson, yeah, okay. But he traded for Javorius Allen out of Baltimore. Forsets look pretty bad. D'Angelo Williams will be starting 4 weeks. He's not dropping him. So Denard Robinson, okay. He's not dropping Matthews. I guess he's got Hoyer. So he's got 2 guys he could drop. But again, for what?
Yeah, and he's going to back-to-back pick here.
Yeah.
So if I'm him,
Yes.
I trade out of these picks.
Absolutely.
I trade out of both these picks, and I go, hey, I look at somebody young. I look at, and I know it's not fair to throw his name out, but I look at Excalibur and I go, you know what? 2 picks for year 1 next year. He needs picks.
Yeah.
Rag to Riches doesn't need anything. He knows he's going to get a low bottom 6 pick next year out of somebody like Excalibur bottom top, and I'll throw Excalibur out because I think he would be interested in something like that. Man, trade out of these picks. Because you're right. You have nothing on your bench that's better than what you're going to pick up. And I'm telling you, what I got on this sheet, I would just keep Allen any day over any of these guys.
How good is Excalibur with the internet and sending emails and stuff? Because if he offered me 2 picks for my next year's pick, I'd want to take a picture of my middle finger and send it to him. There's no chance I would take that. Drake is in the Knights of Excalibur, is in possibly the hardest division. I mean, he's got me and he's got Rags to Riches. That's going to be a tough division to even make it into the playoff. No, Knights of Excalibur just left. He went to your all's division.
Yes, he went over to.
Thank you. Which is my division is the toughest one.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm going to talk about next year. I got a way I want to change this division, but we'll talk about that later.
He's still got replacements.
I'm
He's still
tired
got
of changing the
Crusaders.
divisions. You know how hard that is? I'm a schedule maker. Y'all suck.
Anyways, I'm not sure Knights of Excalibur's winning this year. I'm not even sure he's making it into the playoffs, which means next year's pick, again, is going to be something better. Next year's draft is a lot better than this year's draft. There's nothing on this board. I don't think it's a bad idea for Rags to Riches to try to get somebody to trade him a pick or trade him a player for those 2. But what? I mean, who's picking those 2 and going, man, if I could just get the 9th and 10th picks, I could change my team. Yeah, you can get the 9th and 10th picks, and you can pick up a defensive guy, or
yes,
if there's something out there.
If there's something you need.
So Rags to Riches, he's pulled some good trades. Maybe he can.
Maybe.
But I personally, if he comes offering, unless Ezekiel Elliott's fallen this far, I don't know that I'm. I don't know that I'm
accepting. Right now, he ain't falling that far.
Well, I'll tell you my back-to-back picks for him, and this is just on my board. I got him picking up Thomas, and then the big guy, Henry, which I know we've taken off our board.
Michael Thomas out of New Orleans?
Yeah, out of New Orleans. I just got him here. Honestly, I even got on my notes here. I put on here, doesn't need him, just picks him up for GP. Throws a couple flyers out and says, hey, I'm going to try. At this point, I don't care who he picks. They're not going to start for him.
And it may be he picks up a guy, and we get to hear I pulled myself out of the gutters. I had the worst team ever, and then this guy will pop, and he'll give me a nice long spiel about it, and I'll accept it. But the truth is, none of these picks excite me. He's going to throw something at the board. This is one of those where when you're at the top of the draft, you pick a good player and they perform, and I'm like, good for you, whatever. You picked Ezekiel Elliott, and if he turns out to be an All-Pro. Was that really, you did a lot of work?
You did hard work on that one, right?
The opposite is true here because I never believe anybody who goes, I picked 25th and I stole one. No, you pulled a Patriots and Brady. Nobody thought it was going to work. It works one time, and you get a gloat, and I'll let you gloat, but we don't believe that you actually were sitting there going, I got this.
Yeah, Henry is the man.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm glad that someone finally brought up Michael Thomas, because I've been sitting here, I had him going to Drew's Warriors with the number 2 pick.
They say Thomas having a heck of a game.
I wondered why he hasn't even been mentioned. I mean, you got Drew Brees throwing you the ball.
Well,
adds to your
the
value.
problem you got with that is you got him, you got Snead, you got the
Ingram.
new Fleener, Ingram,
Cleaner, Cooks.
Cooks.
Yeah, and
Is he a good player? Absolutely, and I agree with you. He's not been mentioned here. I think he's set too long.
Personally, I know Drew Brees is older because Snowflake. Obviously, I've got that connection. I've noticed his numbers go down, his attempts are going down. I don't think Thomas. I don't think there's enough to feed everybody there. So Thomas wasn't even on my board. Personally, I had Henry and Fleener, so clearly I was thinking the same way, though. I was trying to pick up. I just figured Fleener will get more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does come down with Thomas whether you think him or Fleener is going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still there. So Vance, you're on 10, which we're probably just continuing the same discussion from rags to riches.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to give you both my 9 and 10. I had him taking Lynch from Denver and taking Tyler Irving from Houston.
Backup quarterback for GP, and I don't even know who Tyler Houston is. So.
He's back up for Houston.
Just in case Osweiler doesn't pan out.
Nah, he's the running back.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is. So good research there.
Good.
I mean,
Okay.
obviously, you know something we don't on that one. I agree with Jonathan starting out. These picks are very irrelevant.
Way to go, ESPN.com.
I don't know if it's. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm an expert and I know everything and blah blah blah. I just looked at.
He just normally sounds like he's an expert and knows everything.
It just works out that way.
Yeah.
I just remember looking last year before the trade deadline or when I started making my trades and reading some of those projected top picks fantasy for next year. And it went like 1, 2 interesting, and then I went, oh, that's crap. So I was happy to get out of it. I think he's got a couple picks at the bottom of the round. I think this is the bad year to get him. I don't think he pans them in anything. I had Fleener here, so either way.
But you had Fleener last time.
I had Derrick Henry and Fleener were the two
yeah.
picks I had for Rags to Riches.
Gotcha.
And I'm not going back to rethink them because I'm like Alan. I
Yeah.
think whatever he picks sits on his bench until he drops it for something
Yeah.
else. Maybe they pop, but more than likely this is if he can't get rid of them, and I don't think he can.
So I'm in the same boat. Number 11. Who's picking 11?
All right, I'm picking 11. I've got Alf, and I actually, even though I didn't slot Michael Thomas on my board, I got a little parentheses or M. Thomas, New Orleans. So he was there. I believe you've already taken him off our board. If you haven't, I don't care. I took Mark Sanchez from Denver. I don't think you like Mark Sanchez. I don't think you want Mark Sanchez. I don't think you care. But he might be a starter for part of the year.
And there's not much out there.
I mean, Paxton Lynch, you could go either way. Do you think? I mean, Paxton Lynch, maybe, because he's a first-round quarterback, if he's still there, but you took him off the board.
If the two of them, I'd take Lynch over Sanchez just because you know what you get with Sanchez.
A busted jaw, right?
He's been here a long time.
Is that right? Is he the one who got busted?
No, that was Geno Smith.
That's Geno Smith.
Geno
That's the
Smith
same thing
got
to me. They
he
both
lost.
suck.
Yes. The funny thing is, Sanchez, I remember offering bottom to top like a bounty for this guy early on in his career. Like, oh, Sanchez is the Sanchez. I want him. And sometimes when people turn down trades, what's that unanswered prayer song? That's fantasy football. But I think because you have no backup, because you have a million running backs. I looked at your bench, and there are actually 14 running backs on your bench. I can't even figure it out. I can't figure out how you've cheated the system to get that. Wide receiver, I don't know if Stephon Diggs still plays in the league or not. There's some debate internally whether he's still there.
He's still there. He's the number 2.
Okay.
He's still there.
Okay.
He's still there.
But, I mean, the only other thing is do you replace out your defensive back? You've got a weak.
Yeah.
You got Clinton Dix, who's okay. You got Breland, and then you got Peters.
There's no superstars there. I'm not good at that position.
Do you want to do that? Instead, I think you drop Antonio Andrews, and you go out and you pick up a quarterback who you might be able to play through your bye weeks 5 and 10, by the way. I do my research.
There you go.
And I think you're still a little mad about Ajayi or whatever.
I don't even want to talk about it.
So
I
Arian Foster came in.
can't believe we waited that late to bring Foster in and just totally dump a number 1 running back for me.
Yeah.
Now,
I thought I was bragging about it all off season. That just Lamar got traded, 2 starting running backs for 1. Yeah, whatever.
just so you know, I had Alf set up as he needed a backup quarterback, and I have him picking Dondre Washington from Oakland.
Yeah, well, none of that's happened.
What?
That's
Don't even
right,
know who that
the running back from Oklahoma or
So,
Oakland.
I'll give y'all
Does he still play in Oklahoma?
Oakland.
Obviously, he's in Oklahoma. I'll give you a hint.
What's his name?
DeAndre Washington.
If there's a,
Oh, he
if-
is on my board. I mean, not on this, but
Hey, it's a running back I've seen Alf pick for 15 years now.
so I'll tell you, I'm gonna give you a hint. If there's a backup quarterback I like, absolutely. Otherwise, I like Dixon. So none of you've even talked about Dixon. Yes, he's a running back.
I don't talk about Dixon a lot.